Man, that still gets me pumped up.
The beat
Greetings,
is fire.
everyone. Right? Like you just can't get mad at it.
You
Greetings,
can't.
everyone. My name is Jeff Long. Welcome back to episode 121 of the Death Tax and Sports Podcast. My name is Jeff Long, aka SK. If you're wondering what that means, you'll just have to figure it out.
Still
And
king.
it could be Sports King, Snow King, Selfie King. You just don't know. Use your freaking imagination, okay? And it looks like it's just you and I for right now. Tigney, Ben is kind of under the weather. Gary will wake up from his nap. But we got the Queen of DTS today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty doggone good. A lot going on in the sports world this week.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man. Who are you telling? I mean, the All-Star weekend, that game, there's just so many different changes. I want to get into that. But tonight we have a special new segment called Tigney Talks. And I'm really excited about it because it's going to give you, Miss Tigney, or Mrs. Tigney, excuse me, the opportunity to talk about 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 facts that really stood out to you from the previous week. I want us to do this every week because I feel like you have a lot things to say, and we got to put the Queen of DTS back on the show or back on the spotlight or whatever the heck you want to call it. You've been gone a couple weeks, so we got
I
to give you
have been.
something.
It's
Yes,
been life has been lifing.
yes. So I'm sure you got a couple. You had a couple good things going on, and I want to highlight that. What's been going on in your world? I've been seeing some good things. I kind of want to celebrate you a little bit. What's been going on?
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you got credit cards and you paying them off, pay them off because one, your girl is out of credit card debt. Confetti, 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 confetti. Oh, yay.
Wife and I are trying to work on that ourselves. So I totally that is a celebration because listen, within our community, credit and debt and all that is very, very, very important. So we definitely want to celebrate, all the other victories. But there was also another post. Not trying to put you in the spot, but there was something else you were celebrating. I didn't see the post. What was that? I'm just curious.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm
There was
celebrating.
something. Was there like a book or something? You had posted something on Facebook
Oh,
about like
yes,
something.
ladies and gentlemen, I got to go and see the incredible, the amazing, the comparable Tabitha Brown. Those that do not know her, she is the host of a fantastic show. She won an Emmy for Tab Time, which is a children's, incredible children's half-hour show. I believe it's on PBS. She was here in Dallas, and we had the opportunity to go see her, and I was able to ask her an incredible question about those that do know her knows that she's always giving advice and she's always giving positive affirmations to people on her platform. And so I asked her, Jeff, what was something that was said to her on in her life that she still instills in her in this journey called life. And she said it was something that her mother had given her, and this was on her mother's deathbed. She had lost her mother several years ago, and she had said that everything that she saw her do, the books that she's written, speaking positivity in people's life, the platform that she has now, everything that Miss Tab is doing now, her mother saw that in advance. And also a birth of a child, because Miss Tab said she was done having children, but she had a son. Her son will be 12 next month. Those are
Oh
like
wow.
affirmations of things that, though at the time her and her husband were working multiple jobs and trying to get by and now dealing with the soon to be loss of her mother, she basically was telling her, keep your head up. God has got you and he's going to guide you to where you're going to go. So that was a really cool moment to ask her that. And that was on my vision board. And those that don't do a vision board, you should, and speak your dreams to existence, because the more that you plant or water that seed of your dreams and your goals, and you talk life to it, it has no choice but to flourish. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to at least acknowledge her and thank her. I did not get a meet and greet, but that moment for me right there, that was absolutely amazing.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Again, I like to celebrate. I like to celebrate the good things that happen for people because yes, we have this show. You have the Heard That podcast, but I think it's also just as important to remember that there's life outside of this, and that we
Mm-hmm.
need to celebrate each other's victories. So that is awesome. That is awesome. I'm going to try to give Gary a little bit more time because I want him on your Tickney Talks. But you want to start with a little bit of this NBA All-Star game, or would you like to do
Yeah,
Tickney Talks?
I want to dive right into the NBA All-Star game because, again,
Yes.
you and I were chatting along with Ben of some of the things that were all right. They were great, and then just some of it that just fell flat. And
Yes.
we, were chopping it up. And so to me, the All-Star game in Indy, I mean, with everybody coming up, the creme de la creme of all athletes, all stars, the people that have worked real hard to purchase their ticket and everything else. I felt the fans, if I was going to grade it, Jeff, it would probably be a B- C+, just for the sheer fact of some things that I didn't even know. One of them being the All-Star game and the lackluster thereof of the effort of the players. Basically, it was a slam dunk contest, 3-point shootout, and those things there. I mean, I said it on another platform. I was really surprised to see the effort of the celebrities being more competitive than the players that this is the ones that got voted in, or you're substituting for, an injured player that was. But nevertheless, the effort, I think there was 2 fouls called during the whole entire game. There was no defense played whatsoever. Dame Lillard got 39 points, and then you could feel the somewhat embarrassment, pissosity of Adam Silver trying to say his words at the end, but you could feel that he was upset and pissed about it. So that's something he's going to have to revisit, because let's be honest, Jeff, and everybody that's watching, money is a motivator. And yes, he revamped it when it came to the in-play tournament with $500,000 for those who win it, $300,000 for the second place. But something like this here, and everybody's going to sit there and say, these players make a lot of money, and everything else. Well, yes and no. I mean, some of these players, it was their first time being there, and then you got LeBron James, it was his 20th. But something like this, you have to look at the overall weekend and see what they can do to capture the interest of the people. So San Francisco's got less than a little bit shy of a year to make something happen, because they're up on the clock right now for the 2025 NBA All-Star Weekend. So what's your thoughts on it?
Oh, man. I mean, this was the first time I watched an NBA All-Star game in probably about 5-6 years.
Oh, wow.
To be honest with you. And probably like 3 or 4 years since I've really paid attention to the All-Star weekend, because I had a feeling there was just something about it. Man, I would give the whole weekend probably a C, and I would give the All-Star game probably a D+, to be completely honest with you. Because you just look by the numbers. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns had 50 points and had 30 in the fourth
on a losing effort.
Okay? Like, by the numbers. Let's just put it by the numbers, okay? There were, the East had 71 3-point shot attempts. The West had 97. Free throws, there was only 5 free throw attempts total.
5.
There were about 106 assists, but there was only 14 steals, 3 blocks the whole game. And there was 43 fast break points for the East, 48 for the West, 100 points in the paint for the 100 points in the paint for the West. Those are terrible numbers. And I get the injury factor. I get all of that. But that wasn't like that in Jordan's era and in Kobe's era when he was just coming up.
Because they competed down to the fourth quarter to the end. It had us literally standing up watching the game. Nobody was chilling and being bored watching this All-Star game. And so, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant, when he's as well as Larry Bird, who had also said, when is it going to be that the All-Star game, they're going to compete again? And I said that, again, a few of my friends went to this game and said majority of the people were leaving at halftime because that's how bored they were.
Well, I'm not going to leave at halftime with all that money I pay on my ticket, but I'm still going to stay.
Right, me too. I mean, I'm staying for the whole entire thing. I mean, I'm not, but this speaks volumes for that. And and as well as, like I said, the tone of Commissioner Adam Silver. And, it just seems, 200, you put up a 200 piece East Side, the 211 points, 397 points altogether. What are we doing?
That's just not good basketball. It's not. And
At
Gary,
all.
and let's get you in here.
What up,
And Gary,
Gary?
glad that you're. Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
All right, how's everybody doing?
Yay.
Good, 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 good. I'm glad that you're here, man, because you bring also another great flair, and I want you to just go in on this All Star Weekend, man. Feel free to insult some people, offend some people, do what Gary Legend does, sir. Because I'm glad you're on this
I mean, if you were looking for defense this weekend, you weren't going to find it.
Except in the Celebrity All-Star game.
That was the most tightly contested game all weekend, which says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Adam Silver has every right to be a little bit pissed about this, but at the same time, it's like, you created the monster.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't incentivize them early enough, so now who cares? You know, we've heard, oh, they need to do where the winning conference gets home court advantage in the finals or something like that. And how fair to, I don't know, let's say the West won. Boston has the best record in the NBA. Likely, if they continue on this trend, they're going to be the ones with home court during the finals. But, we have to then, not the West, excuse me, the East one, but like that would be like, okay, let's go on the other side, Minnesota. If they end up winning the West, now they've gone through all this, and then you have nothing to show for it in the finals because an exhibition game mid-season is what caused you to not have some type of fit. I don't know what to take or how it's going to have to manifest itself, but this week, as far as the festivities, yes, you had the skill, which was something to look at. You had the 3-point contest, which at this point has kind of surpassed the dunk contest in terms of, the hype surrounding it, Dame Lillard doing what Dame Lillard does. You have Sabrina versus Steph, which might have been the best event of the whole weekend, if we're being honest, because, let's face it, it took Steph the last couple of shots to really solidify that win for him. So that was something that I think was good for both men's and women's basketball as a whole, just speaking on that platform. But then you go to the dunk contest. I don't blame the dunkers for the dunk contest. I blame the judges. Them judges were trash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Oh, they were so liberal.
Who was the one? I don't even know his name. The one that won it in 1970, whatever it is, that basically was giving high scores to dunks that were irrelevant. But then with Mac McClung, mind you, Mac McClung is 6'2",
not even NBA
in the G League, and he jumped over a 7-foot man. You gave him a 40, 46, 47?
Yeah, it was
double tap over the head. Yeah, that.
Yeah, catch the zone, and then, come on.
That was a 48. I think Jaylen Brown did the fundamentals. He completed dunks and got like 49s and stuff. It's just like.
You were right. And I think they were judging. They weren't. And the thing is, with me, when I saw that, Gary, they gave the high score based on the tribute, I feel, and not on the dunk necessarily. Oh, but I thought this, and again, not taking anything away from the tribute to Terrence Clark that unfortunately lost his life at 19 in the auto accident on his way to, going through the preparation for the NBA draft that year. But if we're judging dunks, that's what we need to judge is dunks.
And I feel, and then you look at like Mac McClung, even in his victory speech, he felt subdued. He felt like, all right, I did enough to win, but we didn't have that flair. And that's because all these players are looking at these judges and going, the hell do I have to do to get a 50? The only 50 was Mac McClung's final dunk of the night. Like, so we got to look at the judges. We the game's gonna be in San Francisco next season. You gotta have Run TMC out there. You gotta have somebody Bay E40, somebody from the Bay Area that's gonna be an accurate and a fair judge, because these guys were far too anal about the dunk contest, and that killed it.
I think that they felt the backlash, Gary. I think that they're sticking with basketball players because of the backlash, unfortunately, that happened with the last best slam dunk contests that we had, and that was Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. That was one of the last best dunking contests we had. And then the audacity, God rest his soul, Chadwick Boseman and Dwayne Wade saying it needs to be a dunk off because they felt that it was too close to call. When we all know we were screaming at our TV saying Aaron Gordon won that dunk contest.
Aaron Gordon should be a 2-time dunk
champion. Thank you very much.
But you know.
But then they took the celebrity out of it because the celebrities do not understand the fundamentals of dunking or dunk contest or was in one or played the NBA. Thus, the NBA the former players judging it. And I get that. But again, there's always going to be an issue when it comes to judges and the accuracy of what are you truly judging.
Like and it has to be somebody of and that's I'm not trying to be ageist by any stretch, but it has to be somebody that's either, if they're older, has to be a noted dunker, or if they got to be younger. Give me Jermaine O'Neal. You know
that part.
Right.
That part. Who we would have loved to see because it was in Indiana. He's a legendary Pacers player. That would have been great to see him on that judges board. Yes.
I'll tell you one person. I'll tell you one person that should be. There should be two people that should be on the judging for San Francisco next year: Baron Davis and what's that white boy's name that played for them? He used to coach at St. John's.
Chris Mullin.
You know what I'm talking about?
Chris Mullin.
Those should be two cats.
Give me Mitch Richmond. Give me Chris Mullin.
Right.
Give me right. Bay Area. Give me the Bay Area who knows about dunking and everything.
Right.
Because right now Indiana it was too stuffy. It was too basketball.
It was too stuffy.
And then
it was too liberal.
All right, so
I agree. That's a good Jeff. That's a good word for it.
The scoring, like the scoring was. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it was just the dunk contest, the judges, everything was just rigid and lifeless about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing that kills me. It's just how I keep on saying how liberal the scoring was, but I'm just like, damn, like that's this cat got a 48.9. Like Jaylen Brown is not a dunker; he's a game dunker, which is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the type of stature and flexibility, I think, to really do enough creative dunks. Like, to me, they need to incentivize it and make it a little bit more desirable for players to want to do it next year. But I tell you what, there better be at least 2 to 3 judges from Golden State. There are enough legends in Golden State, even before Clay and Steph, Chris Mullins and Baron Davis, or even Monte Ellis. I would even support Monte Ellis even being a judge, right? Even though he wasn't a dunker. But kind of wrapping this up, like, what do you think they need to change in the game itself? I almost say maybe have 3-on-3 tournaments or something.
Yes.
The game in its current form is just not.
It's not flowing
for
me.
You know,
half-court type games.
I agree.
You know what they did with the Rising Stars Challenge? They had 4 different teams, and it's tournament based like that. Like, I like that. Give me that. Like, if you give me that with the best players in the game, I'll take that, because the Rising Stars, they have the right idea. They had to switch it up. They couldn't just keep doing the sophomores. Nobody cared. And even though now it's not still something of any great care, it's still a little bit more entertaining than what they've done. So give me the 4 teams. Have your Bay Area legends. Have your team Mullins, your team Steph, your team Clay, your team Draymond, whoever, your team LeBron's, whatever you need. But like, let's do it tournament based. Let's do it how the NHL has their All-Star game. Like, they've learned to change. They've changed with the times. And frankly, I get it. And perhaps maybe Adam Silver looked at this and like, we're in Indiana. We need to keep the game as traditional as possible. But even what they've done the last few years, where they have the fourth quarter where the Elam score and all that and everything like that, like, that worked. That gave some intrigue. Even in the blowouts, it gave some intrigue. Like, who's going to hit the last shot? What kind of shot is it going to be? Are we going to see Dame Lillard hit a shot from half court because that's what he does? Like, you had intrigue. You had excitement. we took a massive step backwards this weekend.
Why did we get away from that format for the All-Star game? The one where they were competitive and it was for charity and each bucket that was made and all of that when Kobe was there and LeBron. Why did they get away from that format? I never got the understanding on why.
So they got rid of it for this year. I don't know, like Adam Silver's like, we should go back to traditional East versus West.
Nah.
All that. And it's like, you could have, again, the same format as the Rising Stars, East versus West, but have 4 different teams. The top 2 vote getters in the West, the top 2 vote getters in the East, those are your captains. Else gets picked from the pool, those are your teams.
I like the uniforms of the flags that represented where they were from. So you had like Giannis had the Greek flag, and then you had the United States flag, and then they had Slovenia for Luka. I liked that they did that underneath their jacket, underneath their name, and then they had the flag where they're from. That was pretty cool.
Definitely. NBA is a global sport. There's a lot of young, up and coming, talented players. I am just not. My philosophy is, and then we'll move on to taking talks after this. Is I think we have a lot of really, really good players, but I am not sure if we have tremendously great players. Does that make sense? Like in the 90s, in the early 2000s, right? Like, you had Kobe, you had LeBron, even the 90s, MJ, Scottie Pippen. I think that there's, again, a lot of really, really, really good players, but I'm just not sure if they are up to the level as in the past. True or false? What do you guys think on that? Are you guys following me? Where are you guys gauging with
I think Gary mentioned that it ties into that. And I love what he said, that we're taking away the authentic NBA that we love as fans. And it's becoming more of a sideshow. And I hate using that word. But we can have fun, but also stay competitive and give the people what they want. We want to talk about around the water cooler. Did you see Kobe and Steph go, one-on-one and then, just taking it down? And it was basically everybody moved back and it was just them two going at, like, that's what we want to talk about. That's what we want to, remember as fans. And we're shooting the breeze on things that we've seen in the past that was great to us. That kind of format. The last slam dunk contest, that was memorable. This has been, as of late, a flash in the pan. And I hate that for us that watch basketball, that this is supposed to be enjoyable, a moment that's away. And it's all-star break. To not take that word and meaning, we're on break. We could basically just breeze by this and pretend that we want to be here. Don't do that to us. That's all I'm asking.
I mean, if anything, Gary, to avoid injury, you play harder to avoid injury, I feel, because when you play a little bit too conservative, I think it can have the adverse effect, at least in my opinion. But
that is a fair assessment.
I'm not studying kinesiology, right? I remember that 2001, someone posted the 2001 NBA All-Star game at halftime. I think it was like 99 to like 84 or something like that. And I think it was either the East or the West that only scored 7 more points in the second half. And it ended up being like, I don't know, like 114 to 107 or something like that. Like, that's more of a believable game. But putting up 200 points, absolutely ridiculous. NBA, you should be ashamed. You should be ashamed. All right, let's get this thing going here. Tigney, we have a new segment, ladies and gentlemen, called Tigney Talks. For those who don't know what it is, I'll explain it to you. Miss Tigney, or Mrs. Tigney, the queen of DTS, each week will be giving either 3 facts or stories that hit home to her. It could be anything sports related, or it could even be pop culture. I don't really care. It's however you want to run with it. But yeah, she has 3 topics that she can share, and we discuss it. We don't know what they are. We just don't know. So Tigney, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen of DTS and all those that are watching around the world, appreciate everybody tuning in to Tigney Talks. These are topics that have either ruptured my spirit, my soul, or all the above, like a shaken up can of soda, pull the tab back, and kaboom, without the Mentos mint dropped in it. These are the things that I have been talking about with other folks around the fantastic water cooler. We'll start with number 3. I'm getting tired of it, and I know that he is, and he mentioned it on the St. Brown Brothers podcast. Justin Fields is getting tired of his name being mentioned every other day. Will they, won't they trade him to another team? Side note, Justin Fields, if I were you, I'd pack my bags and run to the Atlanta Falcons, but that's just me. I'm not in the field to make that decision, but Justin Fields trade sagas get more ridiculous every week, ladies and gentlemen. Surprising to us, and we've talked about it on this show, is that Matt Eberflus still has a head coaching job with the Chicago Bears. Okay, let that marinate in your disgusted, disgruntled spirit for a moment. He did unfollow the Bears, and he did unfollow the NFL, and the St. Brown Brothers had asked him on the podcast, Amon Ra asked him, why did he unfollow the Bears in the NFL? And he had to clarify it on their podcast, saying that, during the time where he is on break, he doesn't want to focus on football. He doesn't want to have to put his phone down. And then every other pop-up is if they're going to draft, oh my goodness, I just went blank on his name, Caleb Williams, or if they're going to keep him and work out a deal of some sort. And so he went to clarify by quoting the following: just because you don't follow the girl on IG don't mean you're not messing with her.
That's deep. That's
Gents, what do you think?
Gary, I'm gonna give it to you first.
I mean, he's right, but I also want to call bullshit because, sir, you've been the talk of trades during the last 2 regular seasons?
3.
The last 3 regular seasons, you've been the topic of trades. You're used to this now. I get it. You don't want to get the notifications for everything coming from the NFL and from the Bears. Why don't you turn the notifications off?
Hello?
Because now you doing the following, you have to understand everything. We have too many eagle-eyed people on social media. Immediately went, that's interesting. Justin Fields doesn't follow the Bears. He doesn't follow the NFL. I wonder what's going on. And then they dig in more and more and more, and now here we are. As far as I'm concerned, he's better off leaving Chicago. I feel bad for Caleb Williams because I don't think that he's the answer either for them. That's one of those situations that they're just screwed in general as a franchise. But if I'm Justin Fields, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like Atlanta, hell, Washington, any place but Chicago at this point seems hell. You know what? Come to East Rutherford. Come on, we need a quarterback.
He should have been a Denver Bronco, but
or to Denver, Chicago.
We passed up on him.
Chicago, and I'm sorry, but it's not like Caleb Williams is going to be the reason why they win the NFC North and they're in the playoffs next season. They need a lot more than that.
Even though there are murmurings of your East Rutherford team possibly giving up 6 picks for the number 1 pick this season. Stay tuned.
Oof. I mean,
just why?
Man, this is a very tricky situation that the Bears have to manage. Like, I look at it on both sides, right? Like, the decision that they make ultimately could shape the course of their future in the next 3 to 5 years. If they botch this and they trade him, but then he goes off to Atlanta, either wins a Super Bowl or becomes close to it, and Caleb Williams comes in, it's just a complete wash because there's no guarantee that a rookie quarterback comes in and is going to dominate, right? Because it's all depending on the situation. Caleb Williams coming into Chicago with Matt Eberflus, or Eberfuss, whatever the hell his name is. I'm going to call him Eberfuss. Matt Eberfuss, about just X's and O's, and this coaching staff is anemic schematically, and we've seen that. But we also have to throw a little bit, not necessarily shade, but also have to show Justin Fields accountable as well. His play has not been the most consistent at times. There have been times where he's played Hold on. Let's call a spade a spade. Hold on.
I just really want to know, who the hell is he throwing the ball to? Sorry, go ahead. Just that's my question.
Is DJ Moore a scrub? I don't think DJ Moore's a scrub. I don't think he's a scrub. He's had how many consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with sketchy quarterback play?
Oh.
How many?
There's your one.
Okay. Cole Kmet is not a scrub. He's not like an all-pro tight end, but he's still a decent weapon. I'm not saying he has had top tier Hall of Fame type talent, but it's not like he has been throwing to a bunch of scrubs all the time. DJ Moore, there was another one, not Claypool. There was another one that they had, another guy I can't remember. But all I'm saying is that even when we just have to admit the fact that this man has been a little bit up and down with his quarterback play. That's all I'm saying, and I think that's he has some blame. He's not absolved from everything. To say that it's all the Bears, Justin Fields also has to hold some responsibility. Like we just have to call it. I'm a Justin Fields fan. Ohio State Buckeyes. I know how much you love that, Tickney. But yeah, this isn't a good situation. It kind of reminds me of what Kyler Murray did, unfollowing. And I think it was a little bit childish that he unfollowed them a little bit because he knew something was going to happen. But yeah, I mean, those are just showing my thoughts.
But as Gary said, you can mute notifications. You don't need to unfollow everybody. So that means it's deeper than what it should be. But I'm glad he talked about it. It's a great episode to check out. Those that have not checked out Amon-Ra and Equanimous Satan Brown, they have a podcast and they did have Justin Fields on it. It's available on all podcast streaming and on their YouTube channel. Number 2. I have talked about this because I can relate to it, being a person that does not have a biological dad in my life. But however, I call my father because he stepped into my life. I don't call him a stepfather. He stepped into my life when I was 12 years old. I'm grateful for the relationship that we had. Can we all leave Russell Wilson alone when it comes to him being a father to Future? Can we all stop putting this every single time that we need to tag him or tag Future or call him corny? I didn't realize that somebody that steps into his life that is a father that takes him places, that instills a positivity into someone is corny. Maybe you need to check your facts and check all of your issues at the door and stop posting all your drama on Facebook, X, Twitter, or wherever you want to post your stuff at. The man is in his life and does not treat his children any differently, though he has 3 beautiful children with his now wife, Sierra. Sierra's son is from Future, thus little Future. But everyone that is catching heat on this story with them both wearing Kobe jerseys, it wasn't because they were rocking Kobe jerseys. It wasn't because of the fact that they were right there on the sideline. It wasn't also for the fact that he was getting amazing shooting tips. This is little Future getting shooting tips from the great Steph Curry. It is the fact that ESPN/SportsCenter put on their social media that Russell Wilson and his son Future were rocking Kobe jerseys, to which a young rapper by the name of Young Scooter, I had to Google him because I don't know what song or what rap you have. No disrespect to Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta, Georgia. But for him to say that's not his son, which caused a flurry of eruptions, which caused the pressures of somebody who runs the social media on ESPN and SportsCenter to rephrase it and take out son and put in stepson. And that also caused a flurry of disruption. Here's the bottom line, ladies and the gentlemen here on DTS. It is family that's important. You have it in football. You have it in all sports where they say football is family or family first. Family comes above all things. This man has been in this young man's life since he was a baby. Okay. So for him to do all the things like fathers do, be involved in his life, teach him life lessons, teach him business etiquette, never too young to instill these principles in it. If you're going to continue to call Russell Wilson corny, maybe you need to check your corniness at the door and leave it there. Leave this man alone in what he's doing, because he's setting an example for people who don't know their biological or their biological fathers that are absent, and making things happen and set an example. So kudos to Russell Wilson and, be an example, like I said, of incredible fathers that are out there. Thoughts, gentlemen? I'm sorry I had to unload all that, but I just think people are just taking this way too much and way too far, and that he needs to be continually monitored for him spending time with his son, his stepson, whatever people want to call it, but he's spending time instilling principles into this young man.
Yeah, this one really resonates with me. It's like, you could say that you go to church on Sunday, but you still do wicked things, doesn't make you a God-fearing individual, right? It's like with this situation, like, it's not about like this goes into a bigger societal issue, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, because Future has, I don't know how many children, and we don't even know if he's even giving that young black kid the type of support that he needs. Like, this is a much bigger thing on a bigger cataclysmic thing when we're talking about fatherhoods and father role models, specifically within the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
I think that on Black History Month, I think this is even just as important to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that our society, and I think that people within our community are attached or are just attracted to trauma to the point where everything is negative. That's what we're used to. It is for some reason there is just this societal shift of where we can't support Russell Wilson for being in this young man's life and helping him go on the right path. We don't know what this young boy is going to be able to accomplish. We don't know if he's going to be a doctor. We don't know if he's going to find the next cure for for one of the worst diseases 30 years from now. But what Russell Wilson is doing is providing a structure around him to be a better man. Fathers need to be in their sons' lives.
Mm-hmm.
They do. Men, I never knew my biological father, but I'm very appreciative, and I was blessed to be able to have other fatherly role figures. And I don't think Russell Wilson's corny for that. I think, if anything, I commend him and shows him the type of person that he is, taking on someone else's child that's not biologically his. So, young Scooter, whatever the hell your name is, you're corny, you're whack, and your breath.
And Russell Wilson, you're invited to DTS. Just throwing it out there in the atmosphere.
You are.
Hello.
Yes, let's ride.
What do you think, Gary?
DTS, he's invited to join the New York Football Giants as well.
Y'all can have him.
Rutherford, you are welcome here. No, but to your point, like, as a father to myself, as somebody that I was blessed to have my father in my life, still do, my biological father, but I understand the struggle. I've seen the struggle. The majority of my friends, the people that I hang out with, people I've grown up with, come from a single family household who don't know their biological father. So I understand what that looks like, or what the struggle that can come from that. Not only, like, there are worse stepfathers to have in this world. There are worse people to have as an influence than Russell Wilson. Is he Magoo as his overall personality? Sure. But does that make that person? Absolutely not. Does it make him corny? Depends on what you define corny to be. I don't think, like Jeff said, in this world, especially for young Black men, you need to have that adult male figure in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have as many as possible that are going to be positive influences.
Mm-hmm.
That's how this generation will survive and thrive. How this generation has survived and thrived is the fact that
you're breaking up there.
You didn't have your father household. You had somebody that had your back. You had somebody to show you right from wrong. I think Russell Wilson is. Sorry.
No, we're losing them.
I believe
Gary, your connection, buddy. Your connection is a little off there, buddy.
As good a candidate to be.
Okay.
Oh, he was doing so good.
Your connection's off, little buddy. We'll let you get that worked out. Okay. Yeah. We'll give that to him. He's kind of frozen.
He is frozen.
Tickney, let's bring on this next topic, and then let's see if Gary gets back in on this.
All right, the last part of the Tickney Talks, I wanted to give a shout out to veteran sportscaster Jenny Cavnar, who is the first woman to be the primary play-by-play announcer for the Oakland A's. That is powerful. That is amazing. That is cracking the glass ceiling for women sportscasters and broadcasters that are out there. Cavnar was a backup announcer, 12 seasons with the Colorado Rockies. She's a 5-time Emmy winner, and she was a Colorado Sportscaster of the Year in 2021. That is so amazing, and it's going to open up the door for many women that have the love of baseball to become announcers and primary announcers in this sport that has pretty much been male dominated, but has slowly opened the door up for women to, go in there and to match the knowledge, match the wits with veteran, now, no longer playing the sport, baseball players, as well as those that have been broadcasters, men that have broadcasted for many, many years. So I'm so happy for her, and to see her get her flowers and to be the primary play-by-play sportscaster for the Oakland A's. I hope this continues to open doors for other organizations, for women, not only to have this opportunity, but for those that are going to, this is their passion to be sportscasters in the MLB, that they will allow them to have their time behind the microphone, behind the dugout. So this is absolutely amazing. So congratulations to Jenny Cavnar.
You know what? Listen, I think I just love women talking baseball. Like, I just think I think that's awesome, because like, we watch baseball as like an old white man's game, as far as people who cover it, who are writers, who do all of that. So I am all for it. I welcome it. I think it's a great thing. I want to see more women involved in the game of baseball, because there's not that much of a difference as far as the type of play when it comes between softball and baseball. Really, the only difference is just like the diamond, maybe the strike zone. But if you played softball, it's very easy to understand baseball to an extent. To an extent, want to be careful. But I'm all for it, and we need to celebrate more women. And I think I love it. So thanks for bringing that up, Tigney. Gary Legend.
So yeah, no, I think diversity in the broadcast booth is essential. I think Doris Burke has done a great job opening the door from the basketball perspective. Holly Rowe, people of that nature in the basketball world, and it needs to spread. I want to see women in the broadcast booth in baseball, football, hockey, across the board. We need to see commentators of color. We need to see more people that look like us.
Yes.
So the next generation can go, hey, we can do it. It's not impossible. It's not crazy. I look back, like, for me, the person that really, besides my aunt, God rest her soul, the one person that I look at that was a huge impact and influence on who I wanted to be as far as sports go, is the late, great Stuart Scott. Once I saw him, I said, I want to do that. I want to give that a shot, because he was himself and unapologetic and didn't break and didn't bend for anybody. I saw that and said, I want to be that. There's going to be kids that are going to see the men and women of all different colors and different backgrounds in these booths. But the key is we need to have and the women. We need to have all different colors, because the sport is global. Sport knows no gender. Sport knows no race. It is the one of the few universal things that everybody around the world cannot easily understand.
Yeah.
Facts.
Well said, Gary.
Facts. Yeah, definitely. I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come. But Gary, I want to throw one curveball before we give you your hot take, and I know that we talk about this dude a lot. He's a coach for a certain team that's only won a championship in 2008, and it's Doc Rivers. Just a temperature check. I was driving in the car today, and I heard 3-7, and I instantly thought about you, Gary. I don't know why.
Fact. You were expecting what? All of a sudden, this team to turn around and it's interesting though, because correct me if I'm wrong. They are 3-7 with Doc. They are 5-8 since getting rid of Adrian Griffin, who, I'm sorry, correct me. Wasn't he 30-13 when he was fired?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is karma biting them square in the ass, and I could not be happier for them. This is the beginning of the end of Giannis in Milwaukee. I'm already leaning into my hot take right now saying that, because this was, and I'm glad that you brought it up, Jeff, because I think that the instability.
The tea is hot.
The instability of what's going on in Milwaukee. 3 coaches in 3 years. Like, they had the interim in between before Doc even started.
The point is they're still on the payroll. Yeah.
So you're paying for 3 coaches this year.
2 of them that aren't even on the sideline.
And so before,
go ahead, Jeff.
Just real quick, looking at these standings, right? They're currently 8.5 out of the top seed. They're not getting that, and they're only 4.5 games clear of the 7th spot. So with the way that they give up points, there's a very good chance that they might fall out of even in the top 6. I don't think that is out of the realm of possibility when you can't stop anybody, right? Like, just what this reminds me of is the deterioration of the Detroit Pistons from back in the early 2000s, where there was just a series.
I was going to bring that up.
Bad, right? This is a series of bad decision after bad decision after bad. Like, this wasn't like a fast decline by Detroit. It all started with the trade of Chauncey Billups.
Yep.
Then, okay, maybe Rodney Stuckey was going to be it. In 2-3 years' time, I can see a situation where they're not even making the playoffs, and they are just an embarrassment of a franchise. Budenholzer was the glue of that team.
He was,
and they wanted to fire him in 2021, the year that they won the title. There was, for some reason, they just did not like this guy, and I'm sure he's sitting back now, is like, well, he shouldn't have gotten fired, Tigney, because they lost only because Giannis was your best player, was not 100%. If he was healthy, it would have been a completely different series. But I digress. Tigney, your thoughts.
It's the problem that, and I 100% agree with you on that, is you got to look at their next 2 games. They're not playing bum teams. They start tomorrow on the road at Minnesota, and then Doc Rivers goes back to his old stomping grounds at Philadelphia. Both of these teams are not – they're going to play the Hornets afterward at 19 wins, but who knows, they may screw that up too. The problem is this, gentlemen. We just saw, and going back to the East, going to the East versus West game, and Doc Rivers was the coach of that. And yes, you had an East team that put up 211 points. But what my takeaway out of this whole entire situation is there cannot be any excuse. There cannot be you throwing your players under the bus for any kind of horrible loss, lopsided loss, lack of defense, lack of shooting, poor effort. Somebody got hurt, couldn't step up to the plate. There can't be any more excuses. The thing is, what I saw in that game, and certain players from your team, and one of them winning 2 titles, a 3-point contest, and an MVP. I mean, obviously because it was lack of defense, but nevertheless, the excuses are gone. It's over with. It's done. The seat is getting hotter and the lights are getting brighter. Either way, there's a lot of sweating involved and it's nervous energy. So Doc Rivers has got to get it together and got to rally this team, because if not, gentlemen, we're going to see literally just like the 49ers right now being the laughing stock of not realizing the overtime rules, the embarrassment and egg on faces of all the executives of the Minnesota Timberwolves if this Doc Rivers experiment does not work and somehow the Milwaukee Bucks sink like a hole in the Fear the Deer boat, and they are bounced out early in the postseason.
And Gary, I want to throw you a question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Gary, and then I'll throw you the question.
No, so I mean, to that, I just want to respond. Part of the problem is the fact that this is all Doc Rivers knows how to do, is come up with excuses. It's always whether it's somebody getting hurt or players not gelling or just not playing the way that he wants them to play. It's always something. So for me, I can't wait to hear the excuse that he comes up with, because right now, go ahead and say, I only had so much time to practice with them. Okay.
The pad of hall passes are going to eventually run out of paper for you to use. JJ Redick called you out on First Take, saying that you use a bunch of excuses while your firstborn son was upset about JJ Redick calling his daddy out of a bunch of excuses to where, I'm sorry to say it, but not Stephen A., not Kendrick, definitely not JJ. Nobody was backing up Austin Rivers. No. Sorry, not sorry. Literally, they were backing excuses, up JJ.
There's a phrase, excuses are the tools of the weak and incompetent used to build monuments of nothingness, and those who excel in them achieve absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
You know,
I have to read this. I have to read this couple of things. Marcin Gortat. Anybody remember that name? Because he played at the LA Clippers. Who was the coach at that time? Rivers, right? So when JJ called out Doc Rivers, this is what JJ said for those that did not pay attention. He said, quote, I've seen the trend for years. The trend is always making excuses. Doc, we get it. Taking over a team in the middle of the season is hard. It's always an excuse. It's always throwing your team under the bus. There's no accountability with show us more with the team. Into what Marcin Gortat said on Doc Rivers, quote, I wouldn't trust his coaching decisions. I just don't have confidence in them. A former player saying that, now speaking out about it. Imagine how the rest of the team, the teams that he was on, minus the Boston Celtics that won a title with him, how the other teams, the current team, what's their true thoughts about it? That's kind of.
I mean, JJ Redick played for him, so JJ Redick was in the locker room. He's had.
It kind of makes you pause.
Right. I mean, JJ Redick has, again, not an all-star, but he has a very respectable career and is a great basketball mind. And I feel he has the cachet, having had played for him and having had a decent career, to be able to discuss these type of topics. When JJ talks, you listen about basketball. And Doc Rivers, I think, is on his last leg. And why would you even want to put yourself in this type of situation after the debacle in Philly? Like, if I were him, I would have just kind of bowed out and just made a great broadcasting career, and that's what I would have done. But coming into this type of mess, I don't know. Like,
meanwhile,
you got Damian Lillard and Giannis.
Meanwhile, Mark Jackson can't get a job. Makes sense.
Because he basically is blacklisted. Why? Because he spoke up about the whole thing, and it was not afraid to go against the powers of be of the Golden State Warriors higher office. But apparently, he's a hothead. And apparently he doesn't listen. And apparently, it has to be his way or the highway. Mark Jackson's teams were winning. Let's talk about the real reason why y'all got rid of him. None of the players had any issues with him. You don't hear any former players that he coached say any ill will about Mark Jackson. But that kind of makes me nervous that you got former players going on social media or on First Take or whatever the platform is, talking about Doc Rivers in that fashion. That's concern for pause.
I mean, Doc Rivers has had Boston, he's had the Clippers, he's had the Sixers, and now he's had this team, and he's only going to have one championship. I mean, there's really the amount of talent that this guy's had. There have been people who have done more with less.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's a good coach. I mean, that's just what it is. All right, Gary, let's get you in this one, and then I'm going to give my hot take, and then we will wrap up, sir. Are you still there?
I am still here. No, I told you, you kind of helped lead me into my hot take. I'm telling you all right now, you are watching the beginning of the end of Giannis in Milwaukee. I don't see them.
That is bold.
Because this team,
I agree.
Like, they're no longer the effective franchise that they once were. They can only build around Giannis with so much. Brook Lopez is getting older. Chris Middleton's starting to lose that effectiveness on his end. You traded away Drew Holiday. Yes, you got Dame Lillard, but you traded away defense for more offense, and your defense wasn't all the way fantastic to begin with. Like, these are things, and at Giannis' age, Giannis is what, 28?
28, almost 29?
Yeah. He's going to want at least one more legitimate shot at it. And I think much like another Milwaukee icon or Bucks icon and brother Lou Alcindor, otherwise known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he realized that Milwaukee was not going to be conducive to his overall growth. So Kareem requested a trade. It was either going to be either to the Knicks or the Lakers. I think last time the Lakers lucked out. This time, I believe the Knicks will. I don't know how the trade goes down, but don't be surprised if we see a swap Giannis for Julius Randle.
Ooh,
that's a bold take.
But you know what though, Tiffany? But I can see it though. I can see it.
But centerpiece trades will be Giannis on one end and Julius Randle on the other.
Is it sure?
I mean, I think that's probably going to happen this year. I can see a situation where Giannis
even if okay, Gary, even if they do not keep Rivers as a coach in Milwaukee,
that's too much instability. That's too much turnover. If you'd have told me that Doc Rivers would have been his second coach in the time that he's been there, okay, then that's a level of like, well, Giannis, you just need to be patient. We could potentially see him starting with a fifth coach in a 4-year period. Who wants to deal with that? Especially at that, again, if it was younger Giannis where he could just ride it out and be further developing, okay. But we're not going to, you cannot waste peak Giannis at all.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be Kevin Garnett.
Thank you. That was the exact name that I thought of. I said, Kevin Garnett had to wait 13 years to get his championship. And I promise you, he would have been far more effective if this was a team if they constructed that same team in 4 years' time. He would have gotten his ring then, much younger, deep into prime. I don't think Giannis.
I mean, you got to look at the landscape of where Milwaukee is. I mean, his supporting cast, Brook Lopez, is not as effective. I mean, you can see it. I mean, he's always been kind of slow-footed, but he's not knocking down threes like he used to. And Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton is that's very interesting that you said that you messaged that, Tigney. That's actually what I was going to talk about. I just don't see it. Any other thoughts before I go on my little rant here?
No, it's just sad. He came out with, and I recommend it to everybody watching as well as you two and Ben. Giannis has an incredible documentary that just came out on Prime Video. It's called Giannis, A Marvelous Journey, and about his whole entire journey from his family, his parents in Nigeria, and then him and his 3 other brothers born in Greece, what they endured with racism and poverty, and then getting that golden chance to come to the United States and play in the NBA, and just the journeys and all of that, the loss of his father and how he had endured all of that stuff. And I watched it last night. Absolutely incredible documentary, telling his side of the story as well as his brothers, his mother, Giannis's fiance. So highly recommend it on Amazon Prime Video. Giannis, A Miraculous Journey.
Okay, awesome. I'll definitely take a look at that. I love me some good documentaries. I just started watching the Patriots documentary on Amazon on Apple TV. It's actually pretty good. You guys should check that out too. There's some things I didn't even realize. Pretty good. So rant. I'm glad LeBron James. There were so many different ones I was going to go with. Originally, I was going to go with Kate and Clark and how people are, but no, I'm gonna go LeBron. I can't defend LeBron James anymore because here's why. He doesn't play in the he can't tell me that he's serious about the season when he sits out in the game against Utah, plays in the All-Star game, then talks about how a knee injury that he has is going to keep him out against the Warriors. Against the Warriors with Steph Curry, when they're in the heat of trying to make it to the playoffs. It just doesn't make sense to me how you can say that you are serious about the season, but then you're sitting out games, but then playing an exhibition game. That doesn't mean much. For me, I think that is a very bad look. I feel that's very tacky. And yeah, why would you play in a game in an All-Star game as much as he did, or as little as he did? But still the point. He's sending a bad message, I feel, to all the other players when it comes to load management and what's going to mean more, right? Other players look up to him, and I just think that just really said a bad message. And I really just want to get y'all's thoughts on this one because I don't know. I just kind of it's not really a rant, but it's really just kind of the last topic I just wanted to end with and just get y'all's thoughts on that because that's kind of a bad look in my opinion.
Go ahead, Gary.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, he did play the first half of the All-Star game. He sat out the second half. But to your point, you know, he can't be serious about the regular season, or he can't. It's a weird situation, weird dynamic. Like, there's a part of him that I know doesn't care about the regular season. He just he wants to just get to April because of what happened last season. He got to April. They called themselves Western Conference Finals as a seven. I believe that he thinks that he can pull that off again. And I mean, it's weird to be talking about him in this manner, but you also look at it like because he's, I believe, was it 18th or 19th in the league in scoring, which, you know, seems further down the list. But when you have like 12 players averaging 28 points or more, it's kind of like, well, he's going to fall further down the list. But, you know, that's still 20. He's still averaging 25 a night in his 21st season. Like, it seems we have to take the good and the bad. I think that's the ultimately my point with all this. With him, he's going to give you the numbers when he's healthy and when he wants to play. That's the hard part. We've reached the point in his career where it's like, can he stay healthy? He's not. We've reached the era of nobody's playing an 82, a full 82 anymore. I think there's a level of foolishness that comes with that, especially with you know, the way players play, the different types, the different style of play that comes with this era. But I think in LeBron's mind, as long as he can put up the numbers and still be effective, he can sit out a game here and there. It's not going to be the end of the world, at least in his head. Now, this could easily be the reason why they go from being like they're currently 9th in the West, and the Warriors. If it comes back down the line 2 months from now that the reason why the Lakers are 10th place and the Warriors are in 9th or 8th or further up is because LeBron is out at this one game and they lost that one, then we can come back and look at it and go, perhaps if you had skipped the All-Star game or if you had done something other than, and you chose to play these last few games, then we could be talking about something different. But we've just reached the point of this is what it is with LeBron. We're going to see how much he plays in the regular season, and then we're going to then play the waiting game and play in the postseason to find out whether or not he's going to come back for another year.
Yeah. Antigone, these next couple games that you posted, the Warriors, Suns, and Clippers, I think is a season-defining type of that's a season-defining type of seat right there.
Without him, there's going to be probably where they're going to have a close game against the Spurs. The Spurs are, 11 wins. I mean, that's a game that they'll have at home. But the Warriors, that's going to be a battle. I think the Warriors will take that one. I mean, you got the Suns. They're all healthy on there. And then you have at the Clippers. I mean, if he is out all 4 of those games, I only see them having a close win against the Spurs. Let's be 100% honest, gentlemen. I don't see it as them going. They're literally going to limp into the postseason right now because they're sitting at number 9, where you got the Warriors, who I think are going to have a resurgence and pretty much shoot past them. Now you have Clay coming off the bench and just basically playing pissed out of his mind. I mean, we saw the last game that he had. What he put up, like
he had 34. Yeah, 34.
Yeah, 34 points off the bench. So, I mean, he took it in stride. He compared it to, not missing his name. He used to play for the Spurs. But coming off of the bench and being effective that way, if that's going to work, if that's going to be the secret sauce to make the Warriors go past the Lakers, so be it. I'm all for it. But it's going to be where we're going to see the true test of this Lakers team and how much of LeBron's health is going to be a factor. Listen, this man is going to play until he's 40. Let's just keep it 100. He's not going to go away quietly when it talks about retirement. They asked him that. There was a journalist that asked him that. at the end of the All-Star game, and he talked a little bit about that. He's going to play. He'll be 40 in December. He's going to still be playing. And everybody's saying, is Bronny going to be, on the same team? And all those factors are debunked. You talk about one person that has said literally will be in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, all of that. Like, he's already cemented his legacy into the Hall. Honestly, guys, I don't think there's anything else for him to prove. I really don't. And it's not an age thing, because we've seen games where you just look at him and you watch him play, you're like, oh my God, this guy is literally 38, 39 years old. He's slam dunking on players that are like 19, 20, 21. He's like shooting out of his mind and everything else. We've seen when LeBron is healthy, the caliber of what he could be. And then when he's not healthy, we're seeing it on the bottom of the ESPN ticker that he's going to be out tomorrow against the Warriors because he's dealing with knee and ankle injury. This is going to be something where, obviously he's going to talk to his family about it, and think about, but I believe wholeheartedly it's going to be where he's going to come back for the next season. Will it be his final season? He only knows that. That's going to be something that he's going to have to ponder. But LeBron is that person. He's got that competitive spirit where he doesn't want to go out on a thud. He wants to go out with a bang. And so, however he wants to go out, whether this be his farewell season coming up or, he just plays the season, Lakers go in the postseason and wherever they're out, whatever round, or if they go to the NBA Finals, and then he announces his retirement that way, he's established star that he can do that. And so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm always been a LeBron fan. I don't know. Just don't say you're serious about the regular season. I mean, and that's fine. That's cool. I don't know. But all right, guys, this was fun. I appreciate all of you. This next couple weeks are going to be very, very, very action-packed. UConn got their butt spanked by Creighton the other day by like 19.
Almost bracket season, folks. Almost bracket season.
Here's all I'm going to say, Gary. I know how much you love college basketball. I really think this year is going to be the year of the 15 and 14 seeds making it to the Elite Eight, potentially Final Four, because I just think the margin is has a lot of those mid-majors, man, that have those super seniors.
Parity is real.
That makes a big difference. Yep, it makes a big difference when you're 22, 23 going against 18, 19-year-old freshmen.
Runner-up.
In high school the year
Don't be
before.
shocked if none of the number one seeds make it to the Final Four, let alone the Elite Eight. Don't be surprised, people. This is anybody's tournament. This is anybody's tournament right now.
Exactly. So, but hey, much love to you guys. Happy Black History Month. We got one more episode before the end of Black History Month.
Black History is every day.
Yes, it is. Ain't that the truth? So much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all. To all of our listeners, we appreciate all the support. Check us out on YouTube. That's where we're at. Death, Taxes, and Sports on Twitter, DTS Sports 33. You guys take care. Peace and love. And I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye.